So our company is all about sustainability. It's really what drives our spirit. I like to say it's part of our overall culture. And about 3 years ago, we built a facility in the Dominican Republic for gathering and processing what would have been ocean-bound plastic. Okay. And I was actually in the room. It was my second day at the company when I got to be in the room where our owners were deciding to do this. And I remember raising my hand saying, well, what if we get all the plastic, we clean it all up, then what happens? And they were like, well, that's not gonna happen. And it turned out the Dominican Republic is the most polluted country in the Caribbean, which is really sad, and I didn't realize that. And for two reasons. One, it has to do with onshore flow, and part of it is just their overall diet. They use a lot of fried, a lot of cooking oil, and so there's just a lot of plastic. So the concept behind that is we built this facility, gather and sort, process what would have been ocean-bound plastic right then, flake it down, bring it to Miami. The other thing that makes it really different is most ocean-bound plastic that's turned into packaging actually comes from Asia. So Indonesia, Malaysia, all over Southeast Asia. We're the only ones who are doing this in the Western Hemisphere. Okay. So we don't have that gigantic extra footprint from a transportation perspective. This is literally going 80 miles to Miami, and that's where we continue to sort of break it down, and we're turning it into more packaging. It can be used for all kinds of different packaging. We're currently using it for some of our cannabis packaging that's suitable for things like pre-rolls, hardware, vapes, and carts. And then we're also partnering with somebody called Repurpose Global, which is one of the most respected NGOs in terms of working to attack the plastic pollution problem globally. And they take what we can't use for packaging, they're able to sell it to other people for other things. Think furniture, outdoor benches, that sort of thing. And that through that, we're able to get plastic offsets. Then we're also able to work with our customers who maybe need to have plastic packaging, but they really want to do the right thing. And so they're offsetting that. That could be like flexible packaging, which can't use ocean-bound plastic. That can be certain rigid packaging. So there's some plastics that can be like the plastics that we're using in this. They can, like PET would be a good one. That's great. But what happens is we get this all together, right? It's not, so because of that, there are certain things that we can't do. Like it's really hard to do a custom color when you look at some of our products, like our Easy Lock tray. That's why we really recommend somebody go with black, which is our stock, or maybe a dark color. You try to do other colors and it's all modeled. It just doesn't look that great. And even though you can say, oh, it's ocean-bound plastic and it's recyclable, somebody's gonna still go, oh, that doesn't look great.
It's still your brand.
It's still your brand. The other thing about ocean-bound plastic is it's really not great. Most of it isn't great for food grade, right? So that's why you're not gonna see it in edibles. But what it is perfect for are things like Windex is trying to move all of their bottles to ocean-bound plastic. Well, that's perfect, right? That is, I mean, you think about cleaning materials, that sort of thing, that is perfect. And it's also not great for, the reason I say it's not great for flexible. It just doesn't have that strength, and you can't control all of it coming in.
How is it in terms of being comparable when it comes to cost?
So our Easy Lock actually is less expensive in the ocean-bound plastic tray than it is a paper tray.
Oh, okay.
So that answers your first question, right? We also design that product so to eliminate as much labor as possible, because I'm sure you know besides the plant, the most biggest cost factor in cannabis is labor, which is probably true for a lot of industries, right? Not just cannabis. And so we design that the way it's delivered so it's very easy to pack out. Even if we do a lot of flexible packaging, and we have a number of customers that we're doing 40% post-consumer with, and it's pennies, like 2 or 3 pennies, right? And yes, there are some people who can't, accept that. Maybe in that case, maybe they go virgin and they do our offset credit, which is only going to be about half a penny or a penny. And I find that most times people can take that, they're able to take that on. And maybe there's another way that we can look at it. So let's say you want to do 40% post-consumer for your flexible, but you just really can't accept that 3 cent higher. Well, maybe we can look at your pouch and see if there's a way to make it smaller. Is there a way to make it maybe bottom fill and automate it? And then, because there's a lot less money in a bottom fill pouch than there is a gusseted pouch. And then at that point, we can go the 40% post-consumer, or look at an offset. I think that there's a lot of different ways to skin that cat.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to be sustainable, is to maybe just look at it up front and see what other things you can change. Plus, if you make it smaller, that's the biggest sustainable thing you can do because you're using less material.
Is the cannabis industry moving towards more packaging automation?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So I think your large MSOs are because they have the money to do it. Your smaller guys just don't have that opportunity. The other thing is, I know companies that haven't put in automation because they're waiting for legalization, because they don't want to put that equipment in 5 states or 8 states. They want to centralize it, right? Maybe one in Chicago, one in Maryland, one in Florida, right? That makes a ton more sense. In any industry, they would never put one in every state, right? That's crazy. Usually what I see, it's more about, I don't want to buy 5 or 6 or 7. There are little things that you could do from an automation that are worth it. Labeling equipment, filling equipment. And I'm working with somebody right now where we were able to show them that with the filling line that we were looking at doing for them, it would remove probably 2 to 3 people and pay for itself in less than a year. So it just has to be a large enough state, right, from a volume perspective to justify it. The other thing you can do is, I'll use this other customer that I'm talking about because they're currently in 8 states. We've developed a solution where the larger solution for their larger states, larger volume states, is probably only going to be in 3 states. And then we're working with them on some smaller solves that aren't as big an investment. They're not going to have as big of an impact, but Missouri is a huge market. Right? In a state like Missouri, and a state like Illinois, states like Pennsylvania, it's pretty easy to show somebody the reasoning behind making that investment.
What are some of the trends that you see up and coming in the cannabis industry when it comes to packaging? What's going to be next?
Anything that enhances the customer experience. I'm working on a project right now where microdosing is definitely something where you're hearing more and more of. I'm personally a wimp. I smoked my body weight in college, but that was, weed was wimpier then. And so I can't do a 10 milligram edible, it just slays me. But I can do a 1 or 2. My sister and I climbed Diamond Head last year, did a little microdosing before, it was awesome. That is a huge trend in the industry, and I'm seeing people starting to develop products that I think you're gonna see a bunch of that come out in the next 6 to 12 months, because I'm working on some custom packaging for some new products for that. When you're looking at that packaging, they want it to feel socially acceptable, right? Something that's pocketable, purseable. I think you're going to continue to see huge growth in beverage, huge growth in edibles. Anything that, again, is easy, like nobody wants to roll their own, right? Pre-rolls, right? And anything that can automate pre-roll. And again, pre-rolls would be, and also think about cost, because as a whole, the industry is not healthy. And so anything that you can do to have a great customer experience, take really good care of the product, make it so it still is differentiated on shelf and meets the budget. I mean, it's that's the perfect fit.
Anything else that we might have left out about AE Global that you want to make sure the Cannabis Equipment News audience knows?
We're probably quietly the largest, if not one of the largest suppliers to the space. And we really specialize in developing custom solutions for companies that really want to achieve what I just said. They want to do something that's sustainable. They want to do something that meets their budget. It stands out. It's a pleasant customer experience. If you can achieve all of those things, you've hit it.
Well, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.